Okay, so next up, we're gonna be looking at the CSS part. So CSS basically stands for cascading style sheets, right? Now, why do we use CSS is basically just to give a decoration to our web page, right? So the web page that you see over here, it is looking very like a just some text is there and just black and white page over here. Now, if I want to just decorate it a bit, I want to give colors, I want to change the font size, font style, some background colors, maybe some animations later on. So these kind of stuffs can be done with the help of the CSS, right? So HTML is just basically providing us the structure of the page, and CSS is gonna give me like it will improve the looks of the page, right? So now we're gonna be looking at CSS. So basically, first of all, before jumping that how we can create CSS, what is the syntax of writing CSS and all, first of all, we will see that how is CSS added to our project, right? So basically there are three ways that we can add a CSS, right? So the first one is known as inline CSS. So when I am talking about inline CSS over here, inline CSS basically works inside the HTML tags only, right? So let's just take an example over here. Here we have this p tag, right? So what is this p tag doing? The paragraph that is written over here, this entire paragraph is basically the representation is just written inside the p tag, right? So if I want to specifically just apply CSS on this tag over here, I can just write some CSS code inside this p tag, right? So what I will be doing is I will be first writing one attribute over here known as style, right? Now I can give some style to this p tag. Let's say I just want to change the color maybe. So right now we are not concerned about syntaxes, we're gonna look at that later on, but right now we are just looking at how to add, right? So let's say I want to give, let's say, green, right? So as soon as I save it, you will see that the color of the entire paragraph has changed to green. So if I am doing it this way, my CSS is known as inline CSS, right? Now let's talk about the second way. So second way is I can also give CSS in the internal HTML file, right? That is known as internal HTML. So for that, what we would be doing is inside my head tag, I can create a style tag like this, right? And over here I can just give some changes to some text. For example, let's say I want to change the p tag color, right? So what I can do is I can just simply say now this is, again, I'm just writing this for your reference, just how the things are changing, but we're gonna be looking at later on that how the syntaxes are working, right? So I'm just gonna say I want to change the color of the p tag, so I'm gonna say color to green. So there it is. This is also working the same way. Now third is that we can add a CSS file is by putting all the code related to CSS in an external file, right? So that is known as the external CSS, right? So if I just remove this from here, what I can do now is I can create a different CSS file. So I'll just add a new file over here and let's just call it style.css. okay, so now this is a different file. I'll be writing that code over here. So I was doing something on the p tag, right? So I'm just gonna say color to green. Okay, but how will this page will know that I am making changes in that external CSS, this style.css, right? So we have to basically link this style CSS with this index.html. How can we do that? Is by using a link tag in the head section. So I'm just gonna write a link over here, right? So we have this attribute over here that is basically like predefined, and then the href. Now in the href we can just give the path of this style file. So I'm just gonna say style.css. That's it. Okay, so as soon as let me just go over here, let's say I change the color to red maybe. So as soon as I save it, you see the color has now changed, and all the code is basically now in the separate file, and my code is working perfectly fine for my index.html. Okay, so if I see over here that my color is red now, right? And that red color is basically defined in an external CSS, right? Okay, what if I have the color of the p tag as red, but what if I also define the color of the p tag over here, right? Let's say I add a style tag over here, and in the style I'll just write color. Let's make it green again, right? Okay, now if I save this, so you will see that that the color of the text has changed to green. That will basically this is telling me that if I am adding inline CSS over here, that will be given priority. Like if something is mentioned in this external CSS, it is gonna be considered later on. First, the priority will be given to the inline CSS properties that we add. Okay, so that is something that you need to keep in mind when you are dealing with the inline and external CSS, that if something is already written in the inline, that is going to be given property. If the same thing is mentioned in the external file, it is not given, not be given the priority.